Hi. Just drinking a cup of tea. And then the stream will be, live enough. If anyone would like to ask a question in brackets, that will allow me to pick it out. I'm typically, or at least occasionally, behind in chat. I'm reading chat from multiple sources. So apologies if I don't get to your message immediately, or even after a small amount of time, but I will try and read it at some point. If I haven't read it for like 10 or 15 minutes for quite a while, feel free to ask it again. Thank God you turned up, Bad Monk 1. Otherwise, I would not have been able to start. That's true. No tea for you. Not through the internet. You can buy your own tea. We got a few new things today to talk about. Hi. Let's make this thing happen. I'm BoredGamer. I'm here. I'm chatting. Saying hello. I'm sorry they don't have any like set normal times of streaming. I'm planning to do that. Oh, I mean, oh. Yeah, better. I don't really know how that helped. It did though. I just sort of stream whenever on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, sort of sometimes between then. Occasionally a couple of times a week, sometimes just one. We will start streaming regularly again. There's been a lot of reasons and admin and home life stuff. But I'm doing pretty well. Some of the anger at roadmaps has died down. But I suppose what we need to see is what Cloud Imperium's response to having a way of tracking development and keeping them somewhat accountable from patch to patch. Some people, so we're loads of different things from lots of different people, and there are lots of groups and lots of people in between that fall within, or categories, and lots of people falling in between lots of different opinions, and very much I'm understand and welcome criticism. It's all right to be wrong. It's all right to have your own opinion. As long as you're civil, it's sort of like fine with that. Everyone can talk and have a nice homogenous group of ideas. So I'm very much in the opinion of I want Cloud Imperium to give us more rather than less when it comes to roadmap updates and what they're working on, why they're working on it, and if it gets delayed or whatever, to say why, say where the plan is, where's it going to be delayed to, approximately, and just keep on making the game. There's going to be criticism of that, and that's fine. Some people seem to think that CIG don't owe them anything or don't owe you anything or whatever. I disagree. I think very much this is a development that the community is part of, and they owe us a game eventually, and they owe us... I am paying my purchases to CIG. I see that for them to develop the game and to tell me about the development of that game. Very much for people that are subscribers, RSI subscribers, they are literally paying for updates and Inside Star Citizens and that sort of stuff. So there's a big range. And yeah, as long as CIG do keep us updated. If they improve the progress tracker, even if they depreciate the sum of the release view, yeah, I'm okay with that. If we get a lot more context to the progress tracker, that would actually be fine. If that's what CIG wants to do. Yeah. Hi. Hello. I appreciate all the love. Thank you so much. And feel free to ask any questions you want. Question in brackets. Zin also bought me a gift. This arrived, and normally random crappy gifts are from my mate Cameron, who works at CIG. He sends me lots of random things, such as a didgeridoo, because I mentioned one on stream or to him once, and lots of really bad puns. So he bought me a little tea leaf sieve, yeah, 2 of them, yeah. I think that was an accident, but it's because when I was playing Fallout 76, I'd said the word adhesive, so he bought me a tea sieve, and I was supposed to work out this pun when just a tea sieve turns up at my door. But Zin has bought me some bones that I can then read. I can then read these bones to work out what's going on in the roadmap. We also have a crystal ball, very useful. And when we don't know, if all those fails, we've got a magic 8 ball. So will we see Pyro this year? You can count on it. You can count on it. That might be a yes. It's a little vague. Probably yes. Oh. Not something potentially important off my desk. Just heard something smash on the ground. It's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. Hope everyone's doing well, though. You think we'll finally have usable escape pods this year? No. So, the tech to do escape pods is in, and they can have ship in vehicle and ship spawning, all that sort of stuff now if they wanted to, but they need the UI for it, as far as I understand. Now, escape pods are a modular part of a ship. They probably want to get physicalized components in just because it makes their life easier. They probably want to get sharding in as well, so they have the database to be able to track all this stuff and make it optimal and optimized and collect properly. And although they could probably focus on escape pods, I don't think it's a necessary prioritization for them. I might be wrong. I might turn up. It's sort of something I'd expect to see probably next year. Anyone know where the Apollo triage sits in terms of progress? It is, as far as I'm aware, not in active development. So, somewhere in its concept phase. Is Salvage release? And how about tech for the economy and network reworking? Why is it so slow? So, Salvage is still planned for release this year. And they literally said that in Inside Star Citizen yesterday. At the moment, it's listed on the roadmap for Alpha 3.18. At the moment, I don't see any reason for that to change. So, Salvage, Tier 0 Salvage, which will be hand and ship-based Salvage, should be still this year. And hopefully the Q2 of this year. What's the tech for economy and network is so slow? A lot of Star Citizen's general development and components are slow just because they tie into so many other things. So they do work on little pieces of them or large portions of them, but we only get little pieces. That should be changing relatively soon. We're getting like in 3.17 we should be able to sell lots more things to shops, things like that. And we should see more and more things start to be taken over by a dynamic economy sim and things like that as well. Do you think we'll see any big changes in mining nodes with gadgets coming? I think you'll see a little bit of a rebalance, and it's going to make some trips in the Prospector a lot more viable and make a lot more money. There will be reasons to use the mining gadgets. But is it going to be a huge change? Well, not a huge fundamental change, no. How's life treating you? Oh, yeah, reasonably well. I'm doing okay, thanks. At the moment, I'm trying to... so I've just started taking a new multivitamin, which has alleviated a lot of my chest pain. Someone's recommended that. Sort of like I had... wasn't sort of like heart or lung related as far as I was aware. Although... things. But more muscular. And someone suggested taking multivitamin. And okay, I'll take a little one. In addition to my cod liver oil, and that seems to have helped. It's helped a bit with my tiredness as well. I get quite bad eye strain, but life's pretty good, pretty chill. I'm trying to organise a Big Bar Citizen at the moment. I'm looking at probably the 18th of June up in Manchester. I will give people lots more details of that and post up about it a lot. Once I have all the details. What else have we got here? Do you think the Corsair will release during the Drake event after Fleet Week? No. So at the moment, so we know that the Drake Corsair is in active development, which is good. Let's have a look on the progress tracker. Your theory would be that it would be Fleet Week in May, which is, I don't think, anywhere near where I would expect to see it. Drake Corsair. So at the moment, it's got work running into mid to late August, currently planned for it. So this is from the vehicle experience team, I'm assuming. Yeah, so you could see it Q3, Q4 of this year, if you're lucky. Yeah, potentially a Q4 release, I would say. Potentially. Should have examined the bones. Should have. Yes, Drake Corsair, the Q3 patch. Immediate blackouts and criticism on it have been there for several occasions during the past years. This one, roadmap drama seems a bit larger though. What's your take on it? I talked about it earlier. Media blackouts, I'm not sure what that even means. What, on Star Citizen? Star Citizen, anything that Star Citizen can be criticised for in the media is... Are you talking about moderation blackouts? I don't even think that's the case. Star Citizen's rightly criticised and talked about, and sometimes it's wrongly criticised as well. But I'm fine with the people talking about it. I'm fine with people making their own decision based on it. I mean, it is an alpha. It is a hugely delayed and bloated project. And I kind of love it for that. Not the delays, not the slowness of it. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, it's disheartening and disappointing sometimes. But I'm sort of expecting it. I'm fine with Star Citizen being a great game when it releases, hopefully in like 5 or 6 years. And hopefully we'll have Squadron 42 within the next 1 to 2. This roadmap drama was not larger or anything than the normal drama. It was such a bad decision for CIG to say what they said and say, we can't keep to these roadmap releases, but the development's very fluid. So it's a little bit your fault for being noisy about it. Like, come on. If you didn't hold us accountable for not making them, we would give you them as targets. Oh, come on. But I mean, that wasn't just that. That is a misrepresentation of their position. But it did sound, at least part of it, like they were blaming people that were criticising stuff. And Star Citizen can be rightly criticised and should be criticised, and it should be fine to be critical about it occasionally. But I do love CIG and I do trust them. I just think they're a little bit dum-dums sometimes. I mean, I'm a dum-dum all the time, so it's all good. Luck Dragon. I wasn't upset about SIG changing the roadmap, but I'm certainly in the camp that they owe us a verbal apology for sounding like we're the problem. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to the future. I don't care about an apology, to be honest. I don't. I just want to see them go, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to give to you. I mean, the apology, if they're, it doesn't need to be one, can just be, this is what we're going to give you, and we're going to try and give you better roadmap updates. We're going to improve the progress tracker. We are going to do what we said we're going to do. We actually, because let's face it, some of the stuff they might have said in their response may be true. I mean, it was rude, and they, even if it was true, they should be able to go, look, we expect criticism. The project's going to take a long time. It's open development. You're going to get criticised in open development. We know that. we're going to keep on making a game. Bam, done, easy. But yeah, I've got videos on it. Me and Zin talked about it as well. I'm open to other people's opinions on the stuff. I think it's fine. But I'm a very much a person that feels that it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be critical. It's okay to be criticised. As long as you're civil, you should be willing to talk to other people. You can be friends with people if you don't share the same opinions with them. Things like that. Do you think the crushers on the Orion design would be usable for mining? What do you mean? Do you mean... What? It's a mining ship. It's a big old long mining ship. I'm so confused. Do you anticipate a rework of the Starfarer's interior layout sooner, with its refueling gameplay coming in? I'm not expecting expect a few little tweaks to the Starfarer, but nothing massive. Obviously, we saw the refueling mechanics for it on a recent Inside Star Citizen, so you're going to be able to dock with it. It's got a little panel on the back that you can interact with to deal with that and set your prices and pump the fuel in, all that sort of jazz. But do I expect a huge change? Well, maybe the exterior will be a bit more modular. And by the way, the Luck Dragon, thank you so much for the actual money there as well. I read your question out, but thank you very much for the donation. That's very much appreciated. And Seawolf, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for that little donation. You're a star. With kidnapping, can we Shanghai people and NPCs into being crew? Not as far as I'm aware. I'm expecting it as just literally people as cargo. That would be my expectation. Or you're doing a taxi mission and you decide not to drop them off at the location. But you might have a more in-depth mission to, get this person, knock them out, bam, bring them back to here. But it is effectively people as cargo. Do you want to build a snowman? Yeah, actually, it'd be cool to build a snowman in Star Citizen. Why not? Scam Citizen ? Is that a new game? Worst scam ever. You can certainly, with Star Citizen, you can argue Delay Citizen. You can argue Bloat Citizen. Mismanagement Citizen. Those are certain arguments you can make and talk about, but it's clearly not a scam. It's like building a rocket that would literally travel to the moon to fake the moon landings. Or something like that. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of stuff in Star Citizen that needs reworking or tweaking. Yeah, for sure. UI massively important. Building blocks for that will make it a lot quicker. Will there be a cold beer with white cap on the bar? Yeah, why not? Confirmed. 100% confirmed. CIG have banned a fairly long list of concierge members recently. Have they? What do you mean banned? Are you bearded guy? Are you talking specifically on Spectrum in chat for short periods of time? Is it banned or is it a short, a temporary removal? People that have spent 10 to 30k USD, what's your thoughts on that board? Well, what are they banned for? I don't have context for it. But it doesn't matter if you spent $10 or $100,000. You should be still with the rules should be just as levied and applied to you. But I'm not sure why they've been banned and what they've been banned from. Are they still able to play the game? Are they still got their accounts? They didn't break any TOS. But terms of service are different from rules on forums. For example, you would get banned on the forums for repeatedly breaking one of the thread rules. It's not a terms of service issue. You see what I mean? I'm not making excuses or anything for them. What I'm saying is that I have no context to be able to answer that question beyond I need more context. But in the case that a backer has been banned inappropriately, I don't like that. I think that's a bad thing. They are? That's the best I can answer that. It doesn't matter if they put $100 billion into the project. It doesn't matter if they put $1. It doesn't matter if they put zero. Do you think concierge support is super busy right now? Yes, it is. But it's always relatively busy. They have a limited amount of concierge people and a growing amount of concierge. So sort of bear that in mind. They're, especially around busy times of the year. So when they get back in January, there's a huge backlog of about 2 months worth of tickets, as far as I'm aware. Starjump, is your new Fleet viewer working yet? And Starjump replied, still planning on it by the end of Q1 this year. Pushing very hard. Awesome, Starjump. That was good to hear. What is Coramor? It is Star Citizen's Valentine's Day. So this is Coramor. You want a little video? Yeah. Why is the lowest resolution possible? So the HoverQuad is now released. It's out on servers. You can buy it from $25 with lifetime insurance. So really good lifetime insurance token. And funding was doing incredibly well over the last couple of days. So it's sort of planned. It fits in the back of the Nomad, although when Zin was getting footage for this, not this, she didn't do this, but she's been getting footage for the HoverQuad and the Nomad. She went, "This is really janky" when it's in there. So, Coramor is an excuse for a little sale with pink and red and things. Well, not red because you've got the Lunar New Year, which is red and gold. They have like sort of pink and black, pretty cool little things here. And you've got the HoverQuad on sale with and skins for it, and the Nomad with skins, and the Ares with some cool skins. Then was shouting at me because apparently I was supposed to buy her an Ares Inferno, and I haven't. I was like, well, there's one on your account, sort of. She's like, yeah, but it'll get deleted. Or something, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. She wants me to buy her an Inferno. I might at some point. Got a Heartseeker, though, and the Heartseeker's on sale as well. But yeah, it's an excuse for a sale. And a little bit of Star Citizen lore. And you might see some more in-game eventy stuff around these events at some point. Hello, board and chat. And maybe Zin if you're here. So Zin's currently working on a news video talking about Coramor inside Star Citizen. So that big sprint report update they did. And the HoverQuad. She may turn up at some point. I might drag her into the channel later and go, Zin! Like that. Like I sometimes do. Thank you very much, though, Captain Scroll, for resubbing. Very much appreciated, sir. What else have we got? Board, we heard that CIG sees a dependency map as too complicated. Do you have any pieces of dependencies map? What? So, I mean, I could do a video saying how tech fits together in dependencies from one thing to another. The Cloud Imperium has stated. I mean, I wouldn't be able to get it all perfectly accurate because Cloud Imperium haven't told us the dependencies for each thing. But so when we're talking about dependencies, we're talking about you'd need jump points to be able to get to Pyro. So sort of a dependency in that sort of form is jump points for Pyro, and server meshing for Pyro, and sharding for server meshing, things like that. So we could do maybe a dependency map, but it would be too complicated. You could do a prerequisite map for tech, so you could literally go, look, this is a roadmap for the prerequisites that we need, or the requisites we need for these features, and these are being worked on at the moment. You could do something like that. How will ship-to-ship docking work? With a tunnel that extends both ends from ship? No, you don't necessarily have to have a tunnel. You could have, and some will, but I'm expecting some just to be able to get really close and dock, and then just a little tiny connection. So there'll be, I believe, small docking points and large docking points. And CIG wanted ship-to-ship docking, then they went, it's too complicated, and they went, actually, we're going to have it again. I believe that's still the case. I wonder if server meshing will land Q3, Q4. When do they estimate? They haven't really estimated. I'm expecting it this year. The Cloud and PM basically said it would be this year a while ago. And yeah, Q3, Q4 seems reasonable. More like Q4 because, you know, stuff's always delayed. So it will be server meshing or steps towards server meshing. So it might be sharding, it might be static server meshing. We'll need to work out what's going on with it. But I'm hoping that we see Pyro, even if they go, well, you know what? We've got some of server meshing stuff in. We've got sharding in. We've got these optimizations in. We can actually have this partial server meshing in or very low tier server meshing in, and we'll be able to put Pyro out. That's my hope at the very least. CIG's decision to remove things from their release view was a good idea. If it's not going in, don't show us. Their explanation was a mistake, though. Yeah, I do want to see targets and expectations. So, okay, Progress Tracker does show us what they are working on. Yeah, it would be nice to know a bit more context about what that actually means, though. And that's what the release view was to me. It was like, cool, we can see what they're working on the Progress Tracker, what the teams are working on when they've got stuff scheduled, and we can see on the release view that means that is planned for this patch based on the work they're doing. We've lost that context, but we could probably get context back, and in a more sort of like in a way that means, well, it's not 100% going to be in these patches, but it would be nice to know. It would be nice to have those. It'd be nice to have that context for sure. Do you think they will increase the price of the Starfarer when refueling is introduced? Oh. Yes. I think it'll go up by at least $25. That is a really good point. What are your takes on the progress of the Banner Merchantman board? Release mid or end of the year? No way is it going to be released in the middle of the year. If it is a focus, it's such a large ship. There's so many moving parts to it. There's so much going on with it. It could be end of year if you're lucky, or something that you might want to show at CitizenCon but not be ready. Do you know what I mean? Is this game as grindy as other MMO games? At the moment, yeah. In the future, depends how you play it. It is a huge amount going on with Star Citizen. But I wouldn't refer to it as a grind if you were like base building or whatever. It's going to be a bit Eve-like. It's going to be a huge amount to do. If you wanted to grind bounty hunting, it potentially would be a grind. But then the more high-tier, complicated missions would be a bit different. If I want to jump in a fighter and practice dogfighting, do I have to worry about replacing my ship every time I die? So, you want to go into, when you go into Star Citizen, go into Arena Commander, which is the more arcadey mode, literally for you to be able to do that. Vandal Swarm or Pirate Swarm, as you're fighting against waves of ships. Doesn't matter if you die. Doesn't really matter if you die at the moment anyway, but you do have to then reclaim your ship, which can take some minutes, whatever. Scene! Yes, please request for a dependency video. At least try. I appreciate you considering doing it. Oh, one of the reasons I do the live streams is to get ideas for videos and to talk to people and work out what I'm doing next. So it's a good idea. I'll put it on the thing and I'll put some notes with it going. Because at some point my brain will go, you know what, I think this is a good idea and I've got a lot of information or something will... do you think you will use the HoverQuad much? No. Beyond a couple of times while it's new. No shields and no guns. But there might be times I steal them. There might be sometimes I'm using other people's. In the future, it might be really useful to have ground vehicles. So if I'm having like loads of ships in loads of locations, I might have bought, I'll go, yeah, they're super cheap. I'll buy a couple of HoverQuads here, bam, 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 whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they may be pretty dangerous to use without shields. That is true. Is it true that the entire game map is just one solar system? Yes, at the moment, yes, but there are 120, 130 systems planned. What's that actually mean for release? Well, you're probably going to get like a dozen or a couple of dozen star systems at release, and then they're built into more and more and more. So they're building out Pyro at the moment and Nyx system, but at the moment, currently in the alpha, it's just Stanton, and that's pretty massive. Will every location on the Arc map be available for exploration? Potentially. Can't say that for certain. What sticks do you have? So I have a Purple Constellation, Delta, and Throttle, which is the best stick and throttle I've ever used by some margin. And I've used the Warthog, Thrustmaster T16000, other Thrustmaster ones. But yeah, Purple Constellation Delta. Ooh, Purple makes some great stuff. Not sponsored by them or anything, just think they're great. That said, I do mostly prefer to play with mouse and keyboard, just because it's easier for me to play, record, jump around, do camera angles, things like that, and do FPS at the same time. I bought the 400i recently, and it made me really appreciate the time that goes into designing the ships. Do you know what type of gameplay we can expect inside of our ships? So, damage control, putting out fires, replacing fuses, replacing components, subcomponent stuff, sleeping in your ships, eating in your ships, boarding. There's going to be quite a lot. There's going to be rest areas, and there's going to potentially be like render texture stuff, so you can actually stream things in on the screen, do stuff on like a larger mobi-glass type of thing. There's a load of potential and possibility, but there's going to be a load of gameplay to do on your actual ship, especially to do with maintenance and things. BZ, thank you very much for the money. Very much appreciated. What do you think of the overall progress being made from CIG? Overall, too slow or up to speed? So, I would say overall progress is quite obscured. Is the one of the major problems I have. It's not communicated to us enough. We don't know if it's slow or fast. It feels slow, and stuff's often delayed. So it looks slow, probably is slow, and Cloud Imperium don't always communicate enough with us. So that's my view on it. I do love that they are making progress. I think the changes from what we had in sort of like 2016 to now is monumental and awesome. But huge amount more to go. And Cloud Imperium are very much, it's done when it's done. Look, we're making a game. It's going to be a while. But I did wish it was faster. Yeah. But I'm prepared for the slowness. Right, what else have we got here? What else have we got? Apologies if I'm quite slow at answering questions. I will get to them at some point. Inside Star System was great, but what really got me going was the engineering features moving along. Any thoughts on this and what was talked about in the past to now? Engineering features. What specifically do you mean? We talked about the engineering section of the Merchantman. I know there's going to be fires and damage control. What do you mean by... Sorry, Mr. Sparrow. Do you believe CIG when they say they have a solution for server tech? Yes. The solution is to build server meshing. That's the solution. Have they fully built that out? No. Having a solution for something is different from having the tech finished. So yes, I 100% believe they have a solution for it, and I believe they will be able to get server meshing done to a level which is good. How optimized and how much more tweaking and stuff does that need? I don't know. Any idea when physicalized components will be coming? That's a really good question. It's one of the features that I think the game desperately needs, because then it allows you to balance ships a lot better and finalize a lot of ships a lot more. I was hoping that it was going to come 2 years ago. It's still not here. I think it's got to be super important for for them to finish out because they obviously need it for Squadron 42 as well. So it's obviously being worked on. Nice guy Tarkov. Nice guy Tarkov. Now, your name is showing up pretty because you have a verified YouTube channel, clearly. Question, is Jumptown going to get those updates to the locations before we see it again? No. Well, it might get some tweaks, Jumptown. And they obviously talked about that in the post-mortem. So it might see some tweaks, and then we should see it again later this month, Jumptown. But I wouldn't expect to have a huge overhaul or anything. So is hacking delayed again to 3.17, 3.18, or until further notice? We don't know when hacking is coming now. I think they... it's not on the... So let's have a look-see. Hack. So hacking tier 0 is currently has work pegged into it that goes into the start of April. Yeah? So it could be a Q2 feature. So 3.18 onwards. According to the work that's gone into it. This is from the progress tracker. This is what I'm hoping that they update a lot more because they're depreciating this view, which has sort of gameplay and features and stuff that they want to get into things. But the hacking could still be a Q2 feature, although they pushed it off the release view because they went, we're not sure. It's going to click on everything on my thing. Soon! You and other streams should do a deathmatch in-game, see who wins streamer trophy. I mean, basically, they had to do that, and I think Salty Mike and Noodle won together, didn't they? They've done a cool pew-pew. I don't know if BoredGamer's the person to answer that. What you're looking for is a dev to answer that guy. What's he asking? What was he asking? Over 10 concierge members have been permabanned from Spectrum. No terms of sex broken. They only had opinions. I don't know because I don't know the full context of it, unfortunately. In the case where they have not broken terms of service, they've not broken any rules or laws, I'd say, why have they been banned for? You go, wow, they had spicy opinions, or they were angry at something, they were criticising something. Okay, let me see those posts. Let me see the screenshots of them. Let me see the reasons they're banned. Whatever. But obviously, if they weren't banned for any good cause, I assume it's only a Spectrum ban. That's bad. It's awful. But again, I don't know. How many planets without landing zones do you think they've already created? Well, they've certainly they certainly built out loads previously. When they did the whole Sol system for scale and things like that before, but they're not going to be potentially used for anything. They've built planets entirely for theatres of war and for Star Marine maps as well. So they've probably got a lot of planets built out. They've probably got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that they've built before, a lot of which won't be used again, or a lot of which were just explorations of tech. So I mean, maybe we should start to do some more. I certainly want to do more work with more streamers. Like I became pretty reclusive after I left Redacted, but that was a mixture of mental health and then obviously more recently, my father was obviously very ill before he passed away. So I had a couple of years, and it's been COVID and that sort of stuff. So it's been a few years of being pretty rough and me not sort of wanting to. But now it's like actually. There's a lot of good relationships I want to exploit, and I'm not talking about it in a bad way. I'm talking about, making use of those relationships to make content. When is a good time to recruit someone to the game? Give them on the 17th of February this year. There is a free fly. Get them to have a look at the game then. It's free to play then for at least a week. Sin will not get banned. More likely I will get banned. Does upgrade ship to another ship with Warband Edition give me lifetime insurance? So, if you upgrade, if you buy a ship with a lifetime insurance, and then upgrade it to another ship, upgrade it with a cross chassis upgrade, yeah, it will keep the lifetime insurance when you move it across to the new ship, so the new ship will have it. Do you think the lifetime insurance $25 token is excessive versus 10 years? I don't think lifetime insurance is a huge deal. I think that insurance will be not available at a nominal cost in game. I do think that lifetime insurance is only going to be quite minimal level of insurance just for the chassis and base loadout of your ship. I do think that people are going to want to upgrade their insurance in game with in-game money for ships after they've modded them, especially larger ships that are going to. I think the components on a larger ship, especially when you've upgraded them, are going to be much more valuable than the hull of the ship. Speaking of Zin, when HES voice pack's going to drag her on board to do a voiceover work? I mean, I don't know. Is it Paul that runs HES voice packs? I do know the chap that runs it. You see me very hungover. I appreciate the love of my shiny new head. Wait, no. I bought 4 of the new HoverQuads for lifetime insurance. Yeah, no worries. That makes sense for a lot of people. And do you think they will remove the bounty's target location when in close range? I think it will update based on the sort of bounty hunting tracking stuff. So that's going to be based on other people seeing them, reports, air traffic controllers, comm arrays all detecting them, things like that. Are they building the cargo refactor and salvaging gameplay loops on top of the new server meshing tech? I mean, they're building it with this in mind. I know that. Thank you, Sketch Therapy, for the, by the way, for being here. Very much appreciated. Doing the moddings. And J-Bird, love you too, mate. Think we'll be able to ship parts for ships you own and buy when the cargo refactor finally shows up. I think in the future you will be able to buy ship components and general weapons and stuff and then sell them, yeah. Actually be able to put them in cargo containers. Since Star Citizen is so ambitious, what time would you think it would go into beta? 4 to 5 years' time. Love your videos and content so much. Rob Moore, thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated, sir. Oh, you legend. Thank you. And Jericho Pliskin. Money kisses. 400i is dumb, but love it. Send help. I know, right? Mate, if we get Rivers in game that later this year and it's got good buoyancy, that's going to be a proper little yacht. You're going to love it. Deep thoughts on reputation categories discussed inside Star Citizen. I know that Jared said some are on the board for consideration, but not solidified. Yeah, makes sense. They talked about kidnapping. They talked about loads of different things from mining. But expect any sort of gameplay that you could do in Star Citizen that has a mechanics for it, like medical or whatever, to probably have missions for that are PvE based missions. Because there's obviously going to be the sandbox gameplay, there's going to be the PvP based gameplay, but there's a huge amount of which is going to be PvE driven. So time to stop making new vehicles and ships and work on optimization and NPC missions. 2 separate, totally different teams. So the people that are working on building ships can either work on building ships or building interiors for things, and they do both. So they are not mutually exclusive. Any clue on the state of the Retaliated Gold standard and its modules? That is a really good question. I'm hoping that we will see that in 3.17 or 3.18. But there's no... we can... Good point. Retaliated Gold standard. is showing that showing. So Retaliator apparently completed, according to the progress tracker, and that the first run of work that it needed early July last year. But we are waiting for the room swapping, we're waiting for the modular stuff, we're waiting for the gold standard update, which still doesn't materialize. So I don't know what to tell you. It's on the roadmap, but it's incorrect or needs more work beyond that, even if it is correct. Your thoughts on adding children to the game? They're going to want to avoid that because they have to raise the rating on the game. Because of all the murder. I bought a Banner Merchantman and I'm thinking of getting another. Of course, because you can't fly one concept ship currently. Why not fly two? Okay, but no, says the man that has like 5 Banner Merchantmen. So, yeah, I mean, maybe. They'll probably be going up in value and you can upgrade them to another ship, or maybe you've got a reason you want multiple ones. The Banner Defender will be able to dock with them in a very special way. So... And can you talk about how we are waiting on fixes and or improvements in the game now, and how they might be waiting on other features before they can fix them? HUDs or ghost asteroids. Thanks. Star Citizen needs tweaking. So Star Citizen runs as a live development, has a playable product currently, but it is very much an alpha. There are lots of improvements and bugs that need fixing and tweaking to make the game more playable. They go some way at fixing that every major patch. Older problems do crop up again. Some problems don't get fixed because they're waiting on other major systems to fix them. And because of that, it does slow development down a bit, but also means that we get some bugs which are just reoccurring or just don't get fixed. So that's some of the issues with them running a live sort of environment at the same time as developing. They've talked about pressure changes to exterior of ship or, say, gas giants, but have they talked about pressure damages from grenades, missile destinations, etc.? No, not specifically. We do know that there might be sort of decompression and stuff in the future as well. Does stability generally improve the patches? So, it should. That's not always been the case, but it should. Remember old wiki videos like Bug Smashers and the like? Do you miss those? Yeah, so Bug Smashers became part of Inside Star Citizen or Reverse the Verse and Around the Verse. Around the Verse, not Reverse the Verse. Yeah, I miss some of the stuff like that. It's good, interesting sort of looks at development. I think they stopped doing them because of them showing code that then, when they were having a legal case with Crytek, they were like, oh, you shouldn't be showing this code technically. And it's like, Is there a source that contains the list and summary of each profession that Star Citizen has? There is some Star Citizen tracker-based stuff that sort of does that, but not very well. My brain, not in a way that I'd want to see it. There's not anything tracked like that. Maybe me and Zin will put something up. We were to play as other races at some point, sort of aliens and stuff. So they talked about that a while ago, and they said not at release. But maybe in the future you'd be able to play as some of the other races, like the Banu or whatever. Or Tovaran. How long for NPCs to act semi-real? They're building it in at the moment. So they do need a load more network tech and animation improvements as well beyond just the AI. Otherwise they look janky, whatever. But it's one of the things they're doing with the bartender and coffee shop sort of NPCs, is they're trying to make that whole experience and the tech and the movement, and they're much more realistic. How would you feel about a huge Vandal or other hostile city with a wide range of infiltration and assassination missions? Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, I'm sure there will be that with like pirate bases and cities and stuff like that anyway. Do you think that CIG make this announcement roadmap to build the hype when they reveal 4? What? What? A while ago, Space Tomato once interviewed a backer who was also a AAA dev. It's super insightful to see the game from a non-CIG dev's perspective. You have interest in doing the same? Maybe. I mean, I've interviewed, obviously, ex-CIG devs before, and CIG devs. Maybe. I think I have. I've interviewed Star Citizen backers, which are also devs. Do we have a rough ETA on when they are planning to bring the upgraded bounty system with Dead or Alive captures? So they're talking more and more about bounty hunting and updates to that. Bounty hunting version 2 is they've started to talk about that a lot more. I think Reputation V2 and Bounty Hunting V2. Bounty Hunting V2 will enable players to track criminals with the Mobigas. The app for that Mobigas is linked to distress beacons, comm arrays, air traffic control systems, cameras, NPC informants. So anytime someone spots them effectively, that will update where they are, and then you'll be able to track them, and there's a lot more updates for missions for that. So let's have a look at when work for that is planned. Bounty Hunting version 2. Work that they're doing on that from the US Persistent Universe gameplay feature team currently ends at the end of August this year. So that's sort of Q3, towards the end of Q3 this year. Now, could that mean that we see it for 3.19? It means it's a maybe. So, Plastic Death. Hey, boss. Hope you're doing good. What are the odds of seeing a bug planet like Starship Troopers? There's certainly influences for that. They certainly want to do silly things like that, xenomorphs, but I would expect to see planets in the future that have like infestations on them or are dangerous like that. So something like that maybe. And obviously the Pyro Crabs maybe got a little bit of influence from Starship Troopers and the giant Cthulian crab of Pyro and with the tiny little crabettes, like tiny little ones. I mean, they're massive, the small ones. It'll be the number one thing I'd like to see outside of the current scope. Yeah, I would expect to see dangerous animals, flora and fauna on planets, death worlds, things like that. Thank you so much, Plastic Death, for that huge amount of donation as well. You are a beautiful boy. Thank you so much. And I'll try and get to your questions in a minute. See if we can power through some of these. Tips for cooking the perfect steak. So, okay, perfect steak for me would be sous vide'd, so water bathed, effectively. So sous vide, and then just char grilled after that. If you've got a good barbecue, great. But you can flash it in the pan. That would work fine after a sous vide. And if you haven't got a sous vide, then you can reverse sear it. So put it in the oven at a very low temperature for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. Really, really low temperature. I'm talking like between 75 and 75 sort of degrees or whatever. Maybe a little bit up from that. And then super hot pan, 10 seconds each side. Oof. I like my steak. And I prefer my steak to be grain-fed. Grain-fed ribeye. Can we ship ships in ships? Eventually, you should be able to put ships in cargo containers. I would expect it in parts or whatever as a thing to be able to then sell. I would expect that to be a thing. Do you think they'll release Pyro and Nyx together? No, I think that would be too much stuff to test. And they could be released relatively soon after each other, like a quarter or two later. But I do think we'll see Pyro first. bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to use the facilities. I'm going for PP. Alright. Alright. Woo! What else have we got? Do you think after server meshing phase 1 is out? So static server meshing, I suppose. Got sharding, and some of the general sort of server tech upgrades, and then server meshing. Phase 1 is I suppose, so yeah, static server meshing, and then after that it's dynamic server meshing. Would CIG redistribute their devs over the project? No. So typically the people that are working on server meshing are going to be netcode guys, which will then be able to do other stuff, for sure. They've got some other work to do, but they won't be able to, like, build chips. They won't be able to do AI code. Do you know what I mean? I'm a guy who is 400 hours into my first gameplay of Kingdom Come Deliverance. No fast travel, slow ride, my horse everywhere. Think I can enjoy Star Citizen yet? I mean, if you can make your own goals and targets, yes. There's a lot of stuff you can just go from starter ship to getting your own mega ship in-game. You can certainly do that at the moment. I think Star Citizen is best played with a group, though. And there's not enough gameplay there to keep people super interested for huge periods of time. I mean, that there is for certain people and for certain groups and for orgs, especially if they're running their own goals and gameplay and stuff, but there's not the progression is limited, let's say. What would be a good and cheap ship to have on packages if I'd rather want to spend CCU money on my standalone lifetime insurance tokens and mainly fly Drake on my standalones? I'm a bit confused how to answer that question. You get everything in game. It's nice to... I mean, I like things like the Avenger Titan as ships. And then if you're in love with anything else, if you buy your lifetime insurance token, you upgrade that lifetime insurance token to a ship that you love. Is rep transferred between characters with death of a spaceman? So, there would be at least some reputation loss. At a minimum, some loss. That might be all lost, but I suspect it would just be some loss, is what they've sort of talked about. And that also means you can't just, if you're super criminal, you can't just try to get your character killed to build a new character to try and avoid that. Do you think the PU experience will be more or less reliable and stable immediately after the introduction of server meshing phase 1? I think immediately after the introduction, it's going to be as buggy as hell. I think there's going to be lots of bugs and stuff, especially during Evocati and the PTU phase. When do you predict groups and things that make grouping up with crest icons showing for everyone but the group there? Yeah, there needs to be organization improvements, group improvements like that, significantly better tweaks to the UI. And to be honest, a lot of that is quite short-term stuff they could get in really easily. I'm not sure why they haven't already. Do bunker turrets target hover bikes? I don't believe so, no. Not at the moment, anyway. How much deeper will Area 18 be fleshed out? Will there be more city streets to explore. You'll see a bit more of Area 18 or other areas around the planet be fleshed out and have some tweaks and additions to them, because they'll just be building more and more stuff for missions and locations for it. But it's never going to be like super in depth. You're not going to be able to explore the individual streets or anything. It's going to be a large fleshed out zone for purposes of shopping, missions, and all that sort of jazz. Not for it's not Cyberpunk. Do you think full persistence is going to be delayed? Hopefully we'll see it this year. I'm expecting to see it this year. I do have various NDAs that I've signed with CIG. But I'm hoping to do a bit of a studio tour this year. Hopefully with a new studio. Are they completely depreciating the release view? No. So obviously there's the release view and the progress tracker. They're focusing more on the progress tracker, and they're only, after 3.18, they're only going to show 1 month out on the release view. But the progress tracker is still going to be showing multiple quarters out. So we're still going to see that. But basically they were going to look, these are the plans for this patch, and we're going to try and keep to those as best as possible. So we're going to put features in there. But we don't want to put features that are 2 or 3 patches away, because those features are going to change hugely. And we're certainly going to move out, because we don't know exactly what's going to be there yet, because we need to work out what's going to be there, and we don't know fully until like the current patch is out. That said, doesn't make as much sense as I thought it was going to, because we are supposed to have staggered development as well, which is supposed to mean that they can show us probably 2 patches out. We were able to see children of the verse. So we've seen them in a couple of CIG trailers, but it does raise the rating of the game having children in it, and they don't want, people destroying them. So probably not having them in game. So the NPCs that you're seeing in the background here from CitizenCon demo that they did, it's Minersin's cut of it. What else have we got here? So later on, I'm planning to try out Lost Ark. I haven't tried it out yet, but I was a massive Diablo 3 lover, and I love the sort of co-op nature of those sort of games. So I'm looking forward to trying it out. Have we had any news on other systems other than Pyro and Nyx? Not really. I think you can probably expect them to be building towards the Odin system, though. So that's the Squadron 42 one. How much of the surface of a planet is explorable? Most of it. Almost all of it. Unless there's a city there, in which case not all the city is explorable, but there's typically like a big transport network you get on. You can sort of see elements of it. I've been on info runners before, I think. Question mark, probably. Who knows? So is Star Citizen crowdfunded on principle? So they get corporate funding from Microsoft or something if they wanted it? Will they be tempted? So they've had a small amount of private investment. Oh, it's not small, but it is small in the grand scheme of things. From the Calder brothers. So it's specific investors. But it's mostly crowdfunded because they wanted the time to be able to spend a long time developing a product that they wanted for gamers and not be driven by a publisher. Will Vanu when? What? I'm getting another jobs. I'm so confused. Why doesn't a corporate dev want to make a game like Star Citizen? Is it too niche? It takes too much time. The short and mid-term profit isn't there. It's a huge risk as well. What's your take on some of the CIG ex-employees working with Star Atlas? That is a good question. So, a large portion of some of it's CIG ex-employees, but a lot of it, from what I could tell, is Star Citizen contractors. So some people that have done lots of concept, and it's typically concept artists for CIG or have done contract work for CIG, have been used for Star Atlas. You can see this from people like Sarah Collar. You can see this from people. You search for a ship. I'll do it now. So let's search for Art Station. Art Station Dragonfly. Okay, so you can search for you can search for any Star Citizen ship. Actually, I don't know this was what this is going to show, so I better not, in case you know it's saucy or something. That's Dragonfly Studio. That's the wrong game. So if I search for Dragonfly Star Citizen here, okay, so cool. This will be a great example because I'm almost certain that this is what Star Atlas, the NFT game, has done. They've Gary Sanchez made the Dragonfly. I'm almost certain. Yeah, it's got a picture of it. This is the Pierce X4, and this is from Star Atlas. So, so the guy that did the, I think he did the Nox as well. So yeah, the Nox and the Dragonfly, Gary Sanchez, has also done the Pierce X4 for Star Atlas. Yeah, okay, well, he's a concept artist. They've contracted him to do some concept work. So some of these people have actually worked. For, you could say it was Sarah McCullough. So 3-star runner. Bam. Mercury Star Runner. Sarah McCullough. Absolutely love Sarah McCullough's stuff. She left CIG a little while ago for a new job, and I wish her all the best. She's a legendary person. She made did the concept work for the Mercury Star Runner and did some work on it. And she's also done this Star Atlas thing. I don't know what this is. Don't know what all the ships are in Star Atlas. But she did the one that most looks like a Wipeout vehicle, because that's the sort of stuff she does. Like the Opal, I'm assuming it's called. But you do that with any Star Citizen ship. Look on ArtStation, and you'll find that they've also now, very recently, done Star Atlas stuff, or more recently done Star Atlas stuff. So it's the nature of NFTs. I'm a don't take anything as financial advice from me, please, ever. But sort of, I don't trust Star Atlas at the moment. I think it looks like it's very NFT based. It's very sort of staking based. If you like the idea of it, you like what they're selling, do your research and you do you. I'm not gonna shit on your ideas or whatever. I don't know, but I'm pro crypto for certain cryptos. Obviously, lots of them are rug pulls, lots of them are scams, and I'm pro NFTs for some uses. Not just everything as a buzzword. For ticketing, for example, great. Potentially for art, it's got uses. There's lots of clever uses for NFTs which have yet to be properly realised, because at the moment it's sort of like, it's the gold rush, and gold rushes are dumb. Thank you very much for your donation. BB Gaming, yeah, that's what we'll call you. Appreciate your content and insights. Scorpius this year. It's supposed to be this year, isn't it? Did it get pushed? It didn't get pushed off the roadmap, I don't think. So Scorpius should be 3.17 thing, shouldn't it? Release view. Scorpius, RSI Scorpius is currently still planned for 3.17. What else have we got here? I missed the stream again. That's all right. You're here. I'm not going to be streaming for much longer. In fact, I'm probably going to go pretty quick. I'll go through the all these questions, and then we'll try and sum some stuff up. I do appreciate all the love. Thank you so much. It's very, very much appreciated. And all the money as well. A lot of people just chuck a load of money at me, which is awesome because it does help the channel. It's absolutely fantastic. I gave Zin a raise. Gave Zin a... percentage raise on it? I can't even remember how much it was exactly. I gave her a 5% raise. And she'd already had a raise halfway through last year. I was like, we can afford it. Because stuff's was getting more expensive in the UK. So, how often do you, as a content creator, get to talk to Chris Roberts and pick his brains? I've talked to Chris Roberts twice. So not very often. And one of them was 2015 at a CitizenCon, and the other one was 2019 at CitizenCon. And he's very friendly to me when he talks to me. However, I've never been able to sit down and really, 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 really pick Chris Roberts' brain. I have with like Aaron, his brother, and all the other sort of CIG lieutenants and higher ups and stuff. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a good amount of info for you when I do a studio tour later this year. Has there been any new info related to cooking and hygiene? I'm out of the loop for some time. Not really. Not really. Obviously, we're going to be able to certainly do some stuff to certain items that we pick up and foods and stuff to prepare it in some way that we can eat it. With persistence in game, how is CIG handling derelicts? I.e. if someone has already been there or multiple people have looted the wreck when persistence kill the reasons to visit it. I think they'll still move them around and cleverly use that. I think it'll be persistence, but I do think there's going to be some form of mission generation there going on as well. I think we will see a mixed persistence. We'll go, now this hasn't been seen for a while, bam, we'll sort of update it or change it. How will the upcoming engineering and component repair gameplay look like, especially damage repair during combat? So, with larger ships, so smaller ships, it's attrition. If you take too much damage to the area, it's going to be very hard for you to repair it. You might be able to reroute some systems and things, but you'd have to get out of your ship in a lot of cases to repair or replace components. And in some situations, you might not have those components available. Often, I suppose, you'd have to get picked up or rescued or whatever. Towed. On larger ships, fires might break out, so you need to deal with them. You can open like the doors or whatever, suck the fire out, or you use a fire extinguisher, which is making fire extinguishers to clear them. Components can get damaged, which you'll need to replace or repair. There is a sort of like a circuit on ships and power relays in between them. So there's these little power relays which you can turn on and off, and they route power between systems. So you can turn them off to be slightly more power efficient, but also that loses some of the sort of circuit for you. And if they get interrupted, well, then you'll lose access to those systems because they're not getting power. So you might have to go and actually repair them. Like there might be fuses that need replacing or panels that need sort of fixing, or you can just reroute the power on a display. They sort of talked about this gameplay before. Very much looking forward to damage control. Do you have your tickets and lodging book for CitizenCon 2952 on the 24th of September in Los Angeles? No, I do not. Let me find out some more actual details and confirmations. Are you happy? Yeah, I'm moderately happy. I don't strive for happiness. I strive for purpose and not being sad. I'm very happiness is fleeting because I'm bipolar. So I can, when I should be happy, I'm not necessarily happy. I'm sort of a bit weird. Something terrible, devastating's happened. I can be quite happy, oddly. So. Do you think the story of Squadron 42 will continue in the Persistent Universe in the form of events or expansion? Yes, there's supposed to be Squadron 42, Episode 2 and 3. They are their own standalone, effectively standalone AAA games, but I mean, they do follow on from the story, so. Anyone know if they plan to increase the shields of the Valkyrie? I've got to wait for more armor. So, obviously, physicalized components, more armor, and things like that will be coming in the future, and balance to those systems will be coming in the future as well, so stuff might change. Any other questions I could... Tyranids! What happens if you die while wearing Pledge Store purchased armor? So at the moment, you lose it until the next major patch, or until you do an account reset. In the future, you should be able to insure it or get it back in another way. Yeah, I always thought it would be interesting as if you're doing NFT stuff, yeah, and you're doing it for art, you'd make a portrait, display it at a gallery, sell it as an NFT, and then destroy the original. Yeah, once it gets made into the NFT. Yeah, oh, it's a very arty thing to do. What do you think of the new categories for rep showed on Inside Star Citizen? Yeah, I liked the ones that I saw them talk about. I do have a list that I made somewhere. I've got a sort of partial note script I made for the news. So, what did I write down? Sprint reports, reputation system, looked at some potential gameplay loops, kidnapping, hauling, smuggling, theft, as well as emergency response, salvage, espionage, security, courier, racing, mining, medicine, bounty hunting, and then some sort of like hired guns and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it looked cool. I want more gameplay. I want more gameplay loops. Give me more CIG. I love you. I saw charging and drain tier 0 on the roadmap. What's that? So I think that's sort of like having energy weapons. Actually have like batteries that drain that you can recharge. Things like that. Hatsune Miku, thank you so much. What do you think on server meshing? Will we see the first? Will we see the first iteration by Q1 or more likely Q2? Server meshing at the earliest Q3. It's Q3, Q4 this year, in my opinion. When are they adding the making a smell bad? So hygiene will be a thing that will affect the player status and have people reacting to you, potentially have other side effects as well, but you'll be able to use the toilet and sleep and things like that to, and have a shower. Inventory remap and when to expect it being completely redone. So I'm expecting to see lots of updates to the inventory system after we've had the cargo refactor from 3.18. Would you like to see a quick draw mechanic so we could have our own gunslinger duels? Oh, yeah. I actually really like the idea of that. Bit silly. But yes. Right. Yeah, so some items and weapons will have batteries. Also, some vehicles will use batteries as well and things like that. So they're sort of starting to build these mechanics in. I had an idea of the story of Squadron 42 episode 4. Oh, what? That? Shaped according to results of player orgs. I mean, I think they're... Squadron 42 episode 4, for me, is the persistent universe. But I see what you're saying. Right. My friend is going crazy about lifetime insurance. Do you think it'll matter much? I do not think it will matter that much. I do think on large ships, it's going to be useful to have lifetime insurance, but I don't think lifetime insurance is going to cover the changes you make on the ship, and you're going to be insuring your ship based on those changes anyway. So you're buying new upgraded modules or weapons, whatever, you're like, I want these. These are expensive. I need them. My lifetime insurance only covers the base hull of my ship. So it's useful, but it's not the be all and end all. What do you think about EMPs and distortions? They need balancing after we have physicalized components. Right. I'm going to find you someone on Twitch to throw you at. Link you to them. I'm going to send you over to the lovely Super Mac Brothers. He's a beautiful boy, and I love him. Oh. I've not seen this guy before. 1 second. I do love you, Super Mac. No, I said Super Mac Brothers now. I'm going to send you that way. I will not betray my Super Mac brother. Right. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bam. Love you very much. Thank you very much for watching. You're perfect. You're beautiful people. I will leave you with Super Mac Brothers. And be well. Thank you. I will. That is a lovely thing to say. We will be getting a big news video out later today looking at the Inside Star Citizen summary, ship update, because we have the banner merchant and stuff like that, and talking about Coramor and the ship sales, the HoverQuad, that sort of jazz. You can expect that. No, why have I just linked that? No, that's not what I meant to link at all. I'm so sorry, SMB. Yeah, this is what I meant to link. There you go. Have that. Anyway, love you guys loads. You take care, and I'll see you in the verse. Peace. Thanks for joining me today. You guys are the best.